Hey everybody, welcome to the daily 2025 ProcureTech Cup update show. Holy man, that's a mouthful, isn't it? I'll get it before the end of the show here. So thanks a lot for being here. I'm gonna get straight to the point and bring in my co-host and our special guest today. So I've got Sheena Smith, Senior Vice President of Growth at Rise Now, and we're blessed to be in the company of Karthik Rava, procurement doctor extraordinaire today. So thanks for coming on, Karthik. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to be here, my friend. So I look forward to the show. I'm glad I'm alive in the show today. So not in the comments.
Yeah, Sheena, you're doing well.
Oh, hanging in there, man. It's been a long week, but hanging in there, hanging in there.
And I hope you don't mean that because of the ProcureTech Cup, but
Not in the least. No, you know what? Like here's a weird detail about my life. So I studied for the WSET level 2 in wines, and my exam was on Tuesday night. So on top of ProcureTech Cup, my regular job, I'm also being like, what's carbonic maceration and all sorts of nerdy wine things. So anyway, that's over now. Let's focus on this.
but before that, did you pass?
Don't know yet.
Oh, okay. So
Yep,
we'll hope,
don't know yet. But if I do, I'll let everyone know.
Perfect. All right, so quick agenda here. Calendar update, round of 64, Group 3 results, which is probably why you're here, what you're waiting for. We'll highlight the companies exiting the tournament today who are doing great work. We'll highlight today's matchups, talk about what's coming up tomorrow. We get into the round of 32. We'll get Karthik and Sheena's takes on the matchups here, and we'll give you a prediction bracket update. Things are very tight in the prediction bracket in space, so we'll give you some details about that. All right, just before we get into it, reminder to download the 2025 ProcureTech Cup Almanac. So I've got company details, solution categories, HQ locations, demo links, and much more on all the different participants. So make sure you head over to store.procurement.ca. It's free. But if you want to leave us a tip for the tournament, happy to have that tip, right? But it is a free asset if you want to get it. So calendar update: 3 rounds are completed. We've got, or I should say, matchups are completed, right? Groups, and then today we've got Group 4 of the round of 64. So after today, we'll already be halfway through getting, halfway. Yeah, not halfway through the tournament, but halfway through the participants, right? We'll only be left with 32. So the mass of competitors, everybody will have competed at least once. And tomorrow we're into the round of 32, Group 1. There will be weekend voting open for the round of 32 and the final 4, just because we want to give everybody a full work day to be able to gather votes. So that's what's coming up in the next couple days.
Joelle, real quick, did we decide we're going to do the halftime show with a very special, widely loved industry guest? Is that tomorrow or Monday?
Monday is the halftime show, so make sure you tune in on Monday so that we can you'll see what that's all about. All right, results. So without further delay here, round of 64, Group 3 results. So a lot of interesting things happened here. So I've got my own analysis, but I want to hear Karthik, right? You're our special guest today. What did you think about the Group 3 round of 64? What jumps out at you as being something noteworthy here?
Yeah, for me, the surprise one was Tonkin falling off the list. I was expecting them to push through and get many more votes out there. I am very happy with a few of my partners or folks that I work with, whether it's Forest Street winning the gig because they're old partners of procurement doctors. Axiom as well, I'm happy, as well as for Graphite to some extent. But the shocker for me was Tonkin dropping off the list in particular.
Yeah, because Crown is like a startup founded in 2024. They don't have much staff, so I think they probably ended up selling their soul yesterday to get that many votes. What about you, Sheena?
Very, very, very good at marketing, and people probably love them, right? So very, very high kudos to Crown. Nice work there. I think Spend HQ is our first of this tournament to get over 200 votes, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of blow Cievo out of the water by about 100 there. That's interesting to see as well. I'm always happy to see my pal Sean with Convergent IS go through. But again, Flowy, also a great solution. So it's an interesting round.
Yeah, and I'd call out Buying Station as well. Like they did They're fairly new. I think 9 months old, something like that, out of the UK, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they brought the heat yesterday, right? Like you look at the other scores on the map here, and they got the second highest score. So they had an unfortunate matchup in that regard. But some great work, right? So shouting out to Buying Station and what they were able to put out yesterday. And then the last one I'd mention is just Sovra as well, which for me was a surprise, right? Not knowing Spenke that much, but I think Spenke I think's been around since 2020, so they've got a pretty decent product and team. And Sovra doing the public procurement source to pay thing. So that was another one where I was surprised to see that happen, but at the same time, Spenke's the first time in the tournament, so there's a lot of unknowns this year.
Public sector is pretty busy right now with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's March, right? Yeah.
Yes,
I don't blame.
It's probably an understatement. So congratulations to everybody who moves on to the round of 32. And just to highlight a little bit more, folks who are exiting the tournament in the round of 64 Group 3. So I mentioned Buying Station. They've got like transparent pricing that you could see on their websites, and you can start using it. It's very simple to use. So shout out to Peter and the team for their performance. Flowy, you mentioned, Sheena, an intake and orchestration provider out of France. And they've got an interesting take, right? To have spoken to the team around that's a bit different from how other providers are approaching intake and orchestration. So if you're interested in exploring that, Flowy's the one to look at. Sovra, there's a demo there button as well. So you see there's 4 demo buttons on some profiles. So if you want to go see the demos of those solutions, you can do that through the ebook I mentioned at the top of the show. With Sovra powering the critical work of public procurement. So I love what they're doing. And they've really got some momentum in the last year and a half, 2 years or so as well, like rebranding. So they were MDF Commerce in the tournament last year. So definitely keeping an eye on what they're doing. And they've been around since 1996, right? So one of the longest established players in the space. Tonkian, Pure Procurement newsletter partner. Love how they approach the space and how they're built for the enterprise. Take a look at their demo as well. And then the 4 other solutions I don't know that much about, right? So I got introduced to them through this year's tournament. But out of New Zealand, Codis, which did fantastic for a first engagement in the tournament. Deepstream, Procure AI, and Sustainment. So we've got source to contract management, and supplier data solutions. So definitely have a look within the book, and or you have those contacts are clickable in the book as well, right? So if you want to get in touch with them, see what they can do, click on the link, and you'll be able to send them an email or connect on LinkedIn. All right. That being said, today's matchups, round of 64, Group 4. So the last group of the round of 64. This is ongoing right now on my profile on LinkedIn. And again, Karthik, since you're our guest, I'd throw it over to you, right? Is there any matchup specifically you're watching, or expectations or things you're expecting, I should say, right? Because as we know, there's always surprises every year.
Absolutely. So I'm rooting for Super Negotiate for sure, because they've been, it's a very unique thing that Gaurav does as an individual, what he puts out. And it's basically, it's all out in the open, how he builds the tool, and he's gathering feedback live. So I love the work that he does. Canopy, they're an old tool, nice and stable for a while. And I think they've been there in the market for a while. And Tealbook is another one that I'm rooting for. And I'm really interested in understanding the number 4 on the list, Procure IQ versus Studizo, which is something new for me. So I want to learn what they do more and all that as an individual too. So this is more of a learning on steroids for me, basically, Joel. It's entire tournaments, right?
Yeah, and that's the whole point, right?
Connect with people, understand more what's out there in the market, because there are few people that we don't know, or companies that we don't know at all, and we get to know about them through this wonderful tournament, if I may say. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah, thanks, Karthik. And same thing, right? Sudozi for me was something that kind of popped up through this tournament that I didn't know anything about, so I'll be looking into it more. Like positive purchasing as well versus Tealbook's a great team, great solution, but the positive solution is or positive purchasing, I should say, is something I discovered in the last couple months, and they've got a really interesting approach to like skills building for category management, accelerators, training that is fairly unique in the market. So I'm looking to see how they do. And of course, everybody that's been on the show, right? So like Fair Market, Globality, SaaS Rooms, Procurement IQ, I'm trying to see. Canopy's been on and Keelvar has also been on the show. Viridian. So those are the ones I know best. So obviously, I'm expecting good things from them. But it'll be interesting to see. Like Candex is a solution I know that's fairly unique and doing great things as well. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake out. Anything on your mind, Sheena, on this for these matchups?
Well, there's that big old Oro up there. We haven't talked about Oro as kind of the last big heavy hitting intake provider who is entering the tournament here. So excited to see how they play out. I think so. So Zip's still in, Opstream still in, Tonkin out, and so I'm watching the intake space very closely. So I'm also curious to see if their recent announcement around bringing Lance Younger on board will have an impact for them. So
yeah, it might, right? Might at least get them a few more votes. Very cool, very interesting. Thanks for your analysis, guys. And then coming up tomorrow, as I mentioned, the round of 32, Group 1. So here you've got the trees, right? You can see not only the matchups that are going on tomorrow, but what happens after those matchups, right? So Kite and Anvil on the left-hand side, top left of the bracket, are facing off tomorrow. Kodiak Hub and Archlit, Deprima and Procurance Meerkat, and then Veneering and Opstream. To me, the one that's probably most interesting there, I don't know. They've all got their interests, right? But like Kite and Anvil both had similar scores in the first round. Veneering and Opstream is going to be interesting to see. And then on the bottom left of the bracket, or on the right hand side of this slide here, Zip and Mesh, which I think is gonna make some sparks fly potentially, because they both had really great performances in the first round. Provalito and Trust Your Supplier, Consource and Sapico, and then Airchain and Mercanis to wrap up Group 1 of the round of 32. Anything, Sheena, on your end that matchups you're watching?
Well, I think it's interesting, Joel, when we were kind of in the green room before going live today, we were talking about how this is such a marathon versus a sprint. So getting through and winning 6 rounds is quite a feat. And so there's a lot of strategy that goes into kind of where you hit people in terms of asking for votes. Do you kind of ask early and often because you have to go on? And then how do you run that through the rest of the strategy? So I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, of course, absolutely, right? Because we saw, I think it was last year, like in the later rounds, we saw votes in the hundreds, right? 600 to 900 votes, right? And less so in the earlier rounds. So I think like you may have some marketing bullets, and you need to determine when you're going to use them.
Exactly.
Karthik, anything you wanna add?
I think that works two ways, Joel. So it's the tournament getting heated up, getting more marketing as a tournament itself, because there's so many rounds that have already happened, so many people making noise around it. So there are more votes coming in afterwards as well. And I think a lot of these providers, they're using their newsletters to a great extent, putting the picture with the cup, putting the link, how do you go vote and all that stuff. For me, few of my ones that are close to my heart on the left bracket is Trust Your Supplier for sure, Sopico, and Zip to some extent. So on the right bracket, on the top left, Kodiak. I've been a fan of Kodiak for a while because they've been in there from the beginning, and I love their UI and their futuristic insights that they used to give back in the day itself, and now they've gotten even more better. So I'm rooting for them as well. Offstream is another one. Veneering is another one as well. So a couple of times when I was trying to vote, I was worried which founder I might piss off, or because I had two people who I know personally, and I went ahead and did the voting regardless.
Yeah, that's
the beauty of the game, right?
I always tell myself like, at least it's just one vote, right? Like I'm not deciding the fate of the whole tournament by myself. Very cool. Thanks for that, Karthik. And then we'll wrap up quickly here, given we're nearing the end of the show. Just want to give you an update on the prediction bracket. So I filled out the bracket here with the results, just to flash it real quickly. But I want to get into the actual prediction itself, right? So it's very, very tight, right? So one correct guess in a matchup of who wins gives you about 1.6%. And for right now we got a potential maximum of 38, something like that, percent that you could have guessed correctly. And we've got a number of folks. The top 23 guessers are at 20% or higher. So it's very squished at the top of the bracket right now. And Sarah, Jules, Ronald, and What's Proc Without Tech, and I believe Pierre are all tied in the top 5 here for first place. So it's very tight. I put the address at the bottom here. If you want to go check out the bracket itself and see, you also see the dates of the next matchups. So it's still very, very tight for winning that pre-procurement and Rise Now prize pack. One of the items of which Karthik is wearing on his head.
Which I got one of the other ones right here. You get your nice coffee cup.
That's right, and then of course you get bragging rights for being the ProcureTech Oracle for the next year. So that's pretty much it. What we have today. Sheena, Karthik, thanks so much for hopping on again. Everybody in the chat, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.